Alright, welcome to Kerbal Space Program. Today I'm going to build a 3-man moon rocket, or Minimus rocket. I don't know. So, I'm sorry about the audio quality. I don't have the best recording setup tonight, but I'm making do. So we're going to send a 3-man capsule to Minimus to rescue 2 guys. So, let's start with our capsule, and let's give it a parachute for returning into the atmosphere. And let's give it a decoupler, get it disconnected from the craft, and let's put a nice lander can with alright, well sometimes you can't connect things in KSP. I don't know why, but I'm going to show you what to do about that in case you ever have to know. Control Alt Shift D will give you this thing, and you just tick that box and get rid of it by pressing Control Alt Shift D again. Anyway, so I'm putting that lander on there. That should be plenty to get to. I mean, that should be able to put me in orbit around Minimus. I should be able to do my capture with that, land, get off the surface, and all the way back to Kerbin on that amount of fuel, because that's actually a ton of fuel. Let's put some legs on it. I like the big fat legs because I have plenty of fuel. Who cares about weight? I like the big fat ones because they don't shake. So, plenty of legs. I'm going to make sure my ladder can go straight down this area right here through the legs. And I'm going to go ahead and stick that ladder on there. Where's the ladder? There it is. Cool, let's stick a ladder on there. So those legs are going to come down to about right here. So I'm going to put my ladder about right there. And then I'm going to fill in the rest of that space with this type of ladder, because you don't have to deploy them. So I'm alt-clicking this to copy this part and just moving up a little bit with the scroll wheel and sticking a new one on. Oh, that's a little weird, huh? There we go. And that should be enough to not ideal, but okay, whatever. I don't want it on the capsule anyway. I like it when the capsule breaks off cleanly and doesn't have any stuff stuck to it. Do we need anything else on our lander? Let's put some solar panels on it. Solar panels look cool. Let's see, which model is this? You can tell which one they are because even though they're encased, you can see through them. This one has hinges on the bottom. I want this one because it has hinges on the side too. I like that shape. Alright, let's put 2 of them. Let's put some batteries on here. And let's put like all the sensors on it, right? Because I mean, what's the point of going to Minimus? I guess we're rescuing guys, but what's the point of going to Minimus or anywhere without having all the sensors? All the sensors, yeah. Sense all the things. Alright, we've got to talk to home too. Let's stick an antenna on it. That'll do. Alright. Alright, this is our payload. We're going to send this to Minimus. Did I forget anything? That's good enough. Let's send it to Minimus. Alright, so we're going to assume that this is going to be used for Minimus injection and everything after that. So let's stick a decoupler on it and then plant a stage underneath that can inject this to a Minimus transfer orbit, which takes, I'm guessing, I don't know, it takes 4,000 to get out of Kerbin's gravity well, and then probably another 500, 600 to get to Minimus, probably. So 600 delta V, which is the change in velocity it takes to get somewhere in orbit, I'm guessing can be accomplished with one of these and another one of these. But because I guess it's more efficient at this point to put a bigger tank here because the weight, those things weigh a lot. 2.5. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick a big tank on here and like share this with my orbital, with finishing off my orbital burn. So that's gonna do the Minimus injection burn. Now let's put this into orbit. Oh, wait, I forgot something. We gotta spin this around. This is heavy. We gotta spin this around in space using RCS. So one of the things I'm doing, I'm going to place RCS ports at the bottom and top of this craft with its center of mass. And I'm going to then remove it like that, and I'm going to place RCS ports at the bottom and top of this craft around its center of mass. Only, shit. Alright, I'm going to do something a little goofy, which I don't always do, but I just feel like doing it this time. Which is, I'm going to use the magical cubic octagonal strut. Remember, I have that nifty clipping thing turned on, so I'm going to stick those under the legs. Poof. Ain't that neat. Alright, let's stick this back on. I hope you can hear me alright. I kind of mumble sometimes. We're going to test this on the ground. One time. Just decouple everything and see if it decouples cleanly. Because that's asking for trouble when you put things like that. So, here we go. Let's get this to orbit. I'm going to get this to orbit using a tank of this size and a jumbo engine, like that. And by the way, I just clicked and scrolled to do that. That can get to orbit. You know, anything that's about this long or shorter can be pushed by one of these engines. But don't go any longer than that. It's not going to make it. We're going to have a hard time. Alright, and now I'm going to stick asparagus staged boosters all around this. So the idea of an asparagus staged booster is that the middle tank is going to be consuming from the outside tanks so that they drain faster so that I can drop them quicker. And that all the engines start firing from the beginning, because there's no point in lugging an engine all the way up, you know, up if you're not going to use it. And you want to use all the engines from the beginning, ideally, I guess, unless they have some kind of problem running in the atmosphere. The only reason you can't do that is because some of them are buried under decouplers. Or, I guess, because it would give you so much thrust that, you know, what the fuck just happened? It would give you so much thrust that you would actually go too fast and waste fuel pushing through the atmosphere faster than the terminal velocity, which is inefficient. So the way I'm going to do this actually is this is going to be the last booster stage to disconnect. It's only going to have 2 here because it burns slower. There's only 3 engines consuming the fuel. It burns slower, so I'm going to have less fuel in this one, and the other ones are going to be 3 high. So the fuel line here connects the bottom tank here to the bottom tank here. That way, when this engine's pulling fuel, what the hell? Do you see that? What the hell? Better throw that away. That's cursed. I don't know how I did that. Oh no, it had something to do with my symmetry mode when I pulled it off, didn't it? Go figure. I'm a little superstitious about things like that. You probably, watching the video, noticed what I did wrong, and I didn't, you know, because that's really common for the people watching the video to notice something like that. I hope it wasn't too stupid. So, that way, this big engine right here is going to pull from this gray tank, which is going to pull from this fuel line, because fuel lines take precedence over tanks that are attached like that, which is going to drain this and then the center stack. We're going to eject this once it finishes burning. Okay, I always attach my radial stacks with a couple of struts. And you notice I'm doing all this stuff to the booster before I copy it and make the other 2, because, you know, it's less work. And I'll show you a nifty trick for copying booster stages without having to move all the stuff around in this staging tree. It's pretty cool. By the way, this goes down here. All the boosters, they all fire at the same time. One more thing I want to add before I start copying, and that's some Septrons. I'm just going to stick 2 Septrons on this thing, right in the center of this tank, because that's about where that booster's center mass is. the engine's heavy, and these tanks will be empty, actually, when it finishes. So there's that. Let's confirm that this booster is in this stage so that it fires when this radial stack decouples. Duplicate it and stick one over here. I hit space to clear the rotation, and I'm using the WASD, Q, and E keys to rotate, and Shift WASD, Q, and E to rotate by 5-degree increments. It's really useful for building rockets. Now I'm going to duplicate the stage, but before I do, take note of the fact that it's in stage 6, and all these parts have stored their absolute stage position as 6. So what I want to do here is make a new stage that's empty, let it be 6. Shit, hold on, what do I do? No, it's like this. I copy this and remove it, and this floating part knows it's in stage 6, and then I make a new stage 6, and I stick this floating part on, and it jumps in stage 6. Voila. Only I actually wanted like that, but whatever. That's just a way to get them all to jump into the correct, jump into a stage on their own without you having to mess with them. So the first thing I'm going to change about this is this little radial booster doesn't feed to the center stack, it feeds to this booster. That's why it burns faster than the other ones, and the reason it burns a little faster, so we're going to add more height to it, so it has more fuel. And I've tested this design before, so it's kind of like, this is how I know that that this works. Okay, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to make a new stage 6, because that's where it came from, and I'm going to stick it on the rocket. Bilateral symmetry. Damn. Well, sometimes it works. You probably noticed what I did wrong there too, huh? Man, this is incorrect. This is up here. I want this one to disconnect, then this one, and then this one. So, that's wrong. Oh my god, this is so trashed. Sorry. Please go down here. Ooh, staging asparagus is a little tricky sometimes. Sometimes you just can't do it right. So these are in stage 7. This is what I did wrong. Those are in stage 7. That's what I get for using this weird trick. I duplicate them. The floating stack is in stage 7. I make a new stage 7. I stick the floating stack on the rocket, and it jumps in stage 7. That one didn't work right. It did. I mean, it jumps in stage 7 like it was supposed to, but then it made some changes. So anyway, I have to find out which things are which. So this is the one. This is also from the stack I just added. Stick it in here. That's also from the stack I just added. Cool, that was easy. So this stack, this stack, this stack. I'm not going to use this method anymore. I don't like it. It failed me. You can probably hear my bird in the background. She's a cockatiel, and she gets excited when I talk. Whew. Alright, let's get this over with. Let's go to Minimus. That's a lot more fun. Let's go to Minimus. Alright. Looking good, huh? Got my fuel lines in there. Got my Septrons. Got my staging roughly in the correct order. Got some... I need a freaking ASAS. I am going to crash and burn hard without an ASAS. I just have to play with that part. Alright, did I forget anything else? See through this. Did I forget anything important? I don't think so. I think we're good. Let's go to Minimus. Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. Come on, KSP. Don't crash. You can probably hear my poor MacBook's fan like trying to clean the whole room out. Alright, it looks good. It's promising. First thing we need to do is ditch these two losers. I just ended the flight with the Kerbal. So I just ended that Kerbal. And I'm going to go back to my ship and end Bill as well. I'm just going to fly Jebediah out of the Minimus. He's a good-spirited fellow. Gosh, KSP. There we go. He's on the ladder. End flight. This KSP runs a lot faster on my other computer, but I don't have a mic on that computer. Space station. Fastest way to get back to launch pad. Okay. Alright, YouTube, if you're just now joining me, we're going to fly to Minimus in this 3-man rocket to rescue 2 guys who aren't actually on Minimus. I'm just showing you how you might do it. There's 1 man in this lander, and let's take it to Kerbin orbit. I'm going to warp to daytime for you, because it stinks to watch videos at night. There you go. I'm going to throttle all the way up. Actually, I'm going to throttle to 80. Because I have a mainsail engine on here, which might fail. I'm going to hit space launch. Oh, laggy, laggy, lag. Oh crap, I see a problem already. I hope you can see it too. You'll get to find out soon enough. Maybe I can avoid it by spinning. There's 2 problems. Alright, this happens a lot in KSP. It's how you play, right? There's 2 problems here. The first one is the Sepatrons on my tall stacks are not at their center of gravity. So those tall stacks would have rotated into my tank and bloat it up. They're also pointing too closely into the tank, which sometimes overheats the tank or anything they end up pointing at for too long. So I'm moving them. I'm actually going to move this one. It's going to stay down here. It's going to also take this modification where I just slide it over 1 notch like that. Okay, that's more like what I want. The other modification is I didn't bring any RCS fuel. So I'm going to bring some RCS fuel. Since this stuff is just so freaking abundant and it just burns so slow, I am only going to bring 4 units of it. Actually 6 units, since it'll fit between the legs. Oh shit, then it'll be in the way of my ladder. Bring 4 units, but let's space them like this. There we go. Okay, now let's launch. Sorry for that little intermission. You guys probably noticed I forgot the RCS fuel like ages ago. Oh, damn it. We'll just EVA those guys in space. Oh, whatever. I'm not rescuing anyone anyway. You saw how I did it first time. Go to space! Whew. That is laggy. Let me turn my computer volume down just a little bit. It's probably annoying. All right, it's time to jettison this first booster. Let's see if it works. Yeah, that was smooth. That was foolproof and smooth and went without a hitch. We're only moving up at 93 meters per second, though. That's not very good. Notice how my mainsail is not overheating because I didn't connect it to the orange tank, which can't dissipate heat fast enough. I connected to this tank, which has better heat balancing. Now, I mean, I'm playing stock KSP right now, but when I play my own installation, trust me, it's fixed. I don't play with messed up balances. Alright, I'm only at 5,000 meters altitude, but you know, we're getting there. We're going to turn probably a little late this time because we're moving slowly. Probably should have added more fuel, but we're still going to make it to orbit. Minimus is easy to get to. It's nice to jettison things before you turn anyway. Ooh, look at that wobble. Alright, here we go. 10,000. So I'm going to just immediately jump over to the 70-degree pitch here. And I'm going to leave ASAS off because it's just a tad wobbly. And now we're at 200 meters per second, and I'm going to start bringing it up to 300 before about this point here. I'm going to hold it there. This is the tricky part. This is the most fun part of KSP. Alright, it's falling over too quickly. I'm just going to jump over here. I'm going to wait till I get to 300. See, I don't want it to cross that that 45-degree line until we're going at least 500, you know? Because if I cross that 45-degree line before we're going 500, that's pretty much a given that we're not going to make it to orbit. So I'm like not doing this efficiently right now, but we got to make it to orbit, so, you know. Got to get up here out of the atmosphere. Alright, now I'm believing I'm going fast enough now. I'm accelerating at 2 Gs, so I know about what rate to tilt over. And it's about the rate I'll show you. Kind of like this. Trying to keep it at 90. Going 800. Let's bring it down to 15 and hold. So we're going about 1200. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to jump right over here, throttle down just a tad. Look at my map. Apoapsis is 57. That's plenty. My big fuel tank just ran out. Let's get rid of it. Polish it off with the little one. This thing doesn't accelerate very fast, so I'm just going to hold it on the prograde vector. Doesn't have much acceleration. There's no stock engine with an acceleration between. Well, I mean, you can make clusters. It's easy enough to do. I would go ahead and call it and say this is not going to make it to orbit, but what if it does? I got to find out. It's probably not going to make it to orbit. I can I can use Alt angle bracket to increase the physics time warp. I can see that my apoapsis has just made it outside of the orbit, so that I really like that. I'm going to turn physics time warp back down. We're going to circularize at 74 right here. It's probably going to have to start burning really soon, so here we go. Sending this node so I'll know how long to burn. Okay, and it says, alright, oops, man, man, this thing's going all over the place. Okay, I'm just going to start burning. It says I need to burn for 1 minute and 6 seconds. Which means it's pretty nice. That means my burn will be kind of centered around the node. It's better to have it end at the node, I think, but centered around the node is acceptable. Centered I just mean that like the node was in 30 seconds and the burn was going to take a minute. I might not have much left over of my Minimus transfer stage, though. See, I'm already halfway finished with it. In order to get all the way to 3,000 meters per second, I'm going to use the rest of that stage in some of my lander. Luckily, landing on Minimus is so unbelievably cheap. When it comes to Delta V, I think it only takes about 50. So, I don't care how much of my lander I use, really. Okay, I made it to orbit. You're in orbit when these go zing, or it's circular. I'm just going to get rid of that and look at Minimus. See how it's doing. It's over here now. Let's see if it's in the plane of Kerbin. Well, it is. Let's see if it's not really in an efficient place, I'm not even in a good place for a moon or slingshot, but it's okay. I'm not going to really show you a moon or slingshot anyway. What I want to show you is how to get to Minimus in everyday scenario. So the point I'm going to intersect Minimus is here, about 60 degrees in front of Minimus, which means across from that is where I want to place my periapsis, or right there. So I'm going to stick a maneuver node there, and I'm going to just grow it like that until it's somewhere around Minimus's orbit, like that. I'm going to set Minimus as my target. Whoa, I'm going to stick my okay, this is my descending node. I'm going to go ahead and stick a second maneuver node there, in which I burn normal to get into the plane of Minimus, and that tells me where my closest approach is to Minimus. So I'm going to go back to my previous maneuver node, adjust my escape velocity down to the point where I will intersect Minimus, and now I'm going to execute these two burns. So firstly, I'm going to point my ship at this maneuver node. It's probably coming up here. It's coming up in 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Oh, excuse me, it's coming up in 1 minute and 30 seconds. And I have to start burning now. So here we go. And because I have nothing to talk about for 1 minute and 16 seconds, I'm going to estimate my fuel rate. So that's at 14. This has 475 remaining, and it's draining at a rate of how do I compute that? Derp. 390 seconds would be the amount of time the fuel would last if the engine could exactly support its own weight while burning at 1G, I think, or something like that. I don't know what the formula is, unfortunately. I thought that right-clicking the engine would show me the rate of fuel consumption. I suppose I could estimate it. I think about 20 seconds left. See how this fuel tank's doing? It's almost empty. I'm just going to tap X when I see it get as far as I want it to go. There, and the fuel tank ran out. So let's eject it and start on the next one. I'm going to start at half velocity here. Because when you get your periapsis, when you get your apoapsis that far out, it starts to Move fast. There we go. That's probably good enough. I'll do the fine adjustments at the second node, because the predictions of where this is supposed to be have changed a little bit. If I... Well, okay. It's moved a little bit, so firstly, I'm going to grab it and move it over. I'm going to destroy it and make a new one. I need a node at one of these markers where this dotted line connects to my orbit, because that's where I'm in the same plane as Minimus, and I'm going to burn in one of these pink directions to get into the plane of Minimus, and I know I'm in it because the dotted line that indicates, you know, my intersection with Minimus will zing around the whole orbit. And now I know I'm going to need to back off a little bit on that orbit and intersect Minimus. There we go. That's the burn I need. So here we go. Let's go burn it. There we go. Now we're at the burn. It says it's a 7-second burn in 40 seconds. Oh, I forgot to open my panels. That's so fun. Forgot to open them. Okay, let's prepare for the burn. I think it's in this direction. There we go. I usually never let ASAS run with the RCS on, because it'll just waste it all. Burns in 7 seconds, or burn begins in 12 seconds, which just really means I'm going to start it pretty much now. I didn't really work as expected, did it? There we go. Whoa! Nice. Alright. We made it to Minimus. I'm just using the translate key to just move that around a little bit. I want to basically point it dead center, like right crashing into Minimus, because when I enter Minimus's SOI, it's going to lose accuracy, and who knows where I could be. So I'm just going to point in the middle. I'm warping forward and warping up to this SOI transition, at which point I'm slated to crash into the moon of Minimus. Here we go. I'm transitioning over this SOI transition slowly because that minimizes error. Well, what do you know? It really is correct. I'm going to slam into the middle. Alright, I want to land on the sunny side. I'm not even going to enter orbit. I'm just going to land. The sunny side is to my left, which is in the 270 direction, which is this way. Here we go. This way. Just going to burn a little bit, and we will go that way. I'm waiting for a periapsis marker to appear. 4,000. 7,000 is good enough not to hit a mountain on Minimus. 6,000 is good enough not to hit a mountain on Minimus, but, you know, I don't want to, like, skim the mountain. So. Ooh, too fast. Scared the shit out of me. It's probably not the best video about Kerbal Space Program, I know, but, you know, I've never made a video before on a narrated video. Cool, look at that. We made it to Minimus. It's nodes in 4 minutes. T-minus 4 minutes and counting. Here we go. Node in 1 minute and 12 seconds. Node in 24 seconds. 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. That light service is making it impossible for me to read that. There we go. There we go. Now we're in orbit. Yay. We're in a relatively safe orbit, too. Okay. Oh, did I say I wasn't going to go into orbit? Too late, I did. Alright, should we land on the top of the mountain or in a icy lake? Let's land in an icy lake. Right there. Okay. Let's punch it. I'm burning retrograde to slow down. And I'm going to put my intersect in this spot. And now I'm going to do something. This is pretty nifty. I'm going to put a node at the point where I would collide with the ground and move it all the way to retrograde so that I know how many seconds my burn would take. And this says it would take 7 seconds to do a suicide landing on Minimus. So I don't want that node, but I know it takes 7 seconds to stop. So that's fine. I'm just going to warp down here. And it is kicking, it's going to kick me down to 1x warp at some point, I think. Maybe not. Alright, let's kill my horizontal velocity and my vertical velocity here. Just burn down half of that 7-second burn. Let's just do half of that. And let's kill the rest of the horizontal velocity, which is probably going to amount to half of what's left. And here we go, coming in for a landing. Oh, gotta have those legs. Can't land without legs. Well, you can, but you know, why'd you bring them if you were gonna land without legs? Oh, I'm gonna spin around so my ladder's on the sunny side. I always like to do that. Getting impatient. There we go. Minimus. We made it. Alright. Yeah. Good old Minimus. Let's get one of our other Kerbals out, shall we? Bob. Yeah. Oh, come on, Bob. Give me a break. Can't you fly, Bob? You're on Minimus. Anybody can fly on Minimus. What's your problem? Yeah, alright. Well, that's that for this video. We made it to Minimus. That ship has plenty of fuel. It can get home. I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe next time I'll have a better microphone. See you later.